Hi friends, and welcome back to Lemon Tree Corner. This week in the studio we are trying a new pattern. We are still looking for a pattern to replace our piggy pouch, so this week we are going to try this really cute kitty cat pouch. It's constructed very similarly to the piggy pouch, except we've got these zipper side panels. That's really the only difference. So this is a pattern by Aloha Sewing Company. I will link it down below. What we are going to try is the medium and the large today. So the medium is 7.5 by 7.2 inches, and the large, medium and the small. So the small is 5.5 by 5.2, and she says holds credit cards. So most likely we will be going with the medium in this case. The large is more of a pencil pouch. It's a little bigger. So if we look at our two, this is the small and this is the medium. So I think the medium is going to be more of the size we're going for. And I've just got some extra kind of fall fabrics that we're working with. I would like to try this one. So we're going to go with our little kind of Halloween dot and a purple lining. And I'll have to pick out a zipper with that. And this is just a prototype. If we like the way this looks, then we will hold on to this pattern until the end like we normally do. Once we have all of our scrap pieces, we'll make these along with the notions pouches and the coin purses, all the little stuff that we do after all the big stuff is done and preparing for the last few weeks of the show. So that's good. It's going to be a bit of a shorter week. I do have some fat quarters that we could use to make some more of these pouches if we'd like them. I would also like to try a coloring page from our new coloring book that I bought on vacation, Mountains and Wilderness. It's very different for me. It's more of a line drawing style. So I would really like to pick out one of these to do this week as well, just to be relaxing. Yeah, that's about it. So just kind of getting back into the swing of things. Already thinking about a next little getaway we can do after this October show. So this show that we're preparing for is called Rhinebeck West. It's being held at the Knitting Tree LA here in LA. And so it's more of a smaller show. It's not as big as the yarn crawl that we just did in May. So I'm really just making 2 to 3 to 4 of each size bag. So that's what we're working on right now. Last week we made the Can Do Crafts bucket project bag, so with the drawstring. So just kind of gearing up. After this week we'll be starting in on the large project bags, medium, small, 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 all the way down to these bags. So looking forward to working on that. Working on my green sweater that we got started on that you will have seen from the vacation video. Working on my big heavy cotton blanket. It's really heavy, so not sure how far I'm gonna get with that before I'm gonna want to switch to a different blanket. And I got some happy mail. I got my pre-ordered yarn that we're gonna make the Galatea top with. I don't know where that pattern is, so I will insert a picture of it here. It's the top that we saw at Yarn Crawl that I really wanted to make. So I had ordered this yarn to go with it. This is Long Dog yarn. It's called Blue Hawaiian. It's this beautiful fingering weight superwash merino. So extra fine superwash merino with these little speckly bits in it. So I really like that. So my size called for 4 skeins. I've got these 4 skeins. I've also got the grape yarn that I bought 2 years ago at Yarn Crawl that I'd also like to make this top with. It's just a little harder to see. It's a really dark grape color. So maybe we should start with this one and try that first. You know me, I've got a million crochet projects lined up and ready to go. We also bought a skein on vacation that I want to do a little scarf with. So I'm thinking what we might do is knock out some of those smaller 1 skein projects before we attempt a top. We've also got the sweater, so we've got a lot of projects going. So I think I will leave this in skein form for a while until we get to that. so that's about all that's going on. It's really hot here in Southern California and just kind of hanging in here, putting my head down and getting our work done. So if making kitty pouches and doing some coloring book fun sounds good to you, go ahead and get yourself a water or a cool beverage, curl up, and let's have some fun. Okay, we are ready to get started. Now she doesn't have any written instructions because she has a full YouTube tutorial, so that's cool. I'm going to cut out these 2 pieces because I forgot to do that. And then, yeah, it seems pretty easy. We're going to cut on the fold. We're going to sew, instead of sewing the zipper in like a pouch, we're going to sew it in with the folded fabric on top. So I'll show you what I mean, but it's a nice way of doing it if you just want to make life a little easier for yourself. And it's easier to install the zipper that way. So I am going to go ahead and cut out the fabrics and find a zipper color that we like for this fabric. You're only using 1 piece of the lining fabric because we're cutting these 2 pieces on the fold. Let me see if I can find the pieces. Because you're cutting these 2 pieces on the fold, it's the outer fabric. So you really are only cutting 1 piece of the lining fabric. And this is also the outer fabric. And then she does add some Fusible fleece, but she cuts it out of the seam allowance. So we are going to do the same thing. It's been a nice lazy weekend. My husband is taking his mom on a trip. They go every year for the Jazz Festival up in Seattle. So he is up there now for a whole week. It's so difficult. I miss him so much. So I'm like sole responsibility for the dogs. So took the dogs on a walk this morning just to get some energy out. And while it was still cool, because yeah, I totally didn't think about that until it was too late yesterday. And yeah, just hanging out here with the dogs, gonna get some work done so that I feel less alone. And then my sister and I are going back to the yarn store today to do some sit and knit kind of thing. And then I'm taking my mom and my stepdad to a elephant exhibit. So that'll be some entertainment for me while my husband is out of town. Yeah, and I think we'll do a coloring page as well. So there's not a lot going on with this. I'm going to make 1 of these, maybe 2 in the 2 different sizes. And then, yeah, that's about all that's going on here. So we'll do a coloring page. I think the little one is going to be too little once I sew it together. This isn't very useful. So I think this one, once we sew it together, is going to be a little bit more like the piggy. So I think we'll just stick with this. What is this? The large, small, medium, large. This is the large. Okay, so let me get this fabric prepped and cut out, and then we'll piece it together. I think what I'm going to do, since there's not a lot going on here, I think I'm going to make 1 of each. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to do the reverse. So we'll cut out everything out of each fabric, and then that way we will have 2 cat purses at the end. We've attached the interfacing. I went ahead and drew out on our Fusible fleece our pieces, and she's telling us that she wants us lined up here at the bottom, but that we're gonna take some room off the top, about 3/8 of an inch. I'm really not sure. I can't eyeball 3/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna take this off, put it next to the piece, and see how we did. And we can take more off if needed after that. It would have been handy if she had just given us a separate pattern piece for the fusible fleece, then we wouldn't have to do this, but c'est la vie. I mean, it's a pretty fast pattern other than that, so I'm not gonna complain any more than that. It also, I'm using up some small leftover pieces, so that's handy. So let's take a look at what they look like next to our fabric. Okay, so we just want it to be a little smaller than this. We're gonna line it up exactly in the crack, and that still looks like it's too much. And there we go. So I'm gonna sew that down. We're gonna pick out some zippers and we'll be right back. And it's real important with these little zippers that you get it perfectly aligned, because otherwise it doesn't really fit very well. So I did not get a lot of sleep last night. The dogs are just waking me up super early in the morning, which does not bode well for the rest of the week. It's difficult when he's gone on such a long trip because of that. Okay, so we are gonna put our zipper tabs on the end here, all the way, shove them all the way in there, and then we're gonna sew these down. We are going to sew down our tabs. That. And then we're gonna sew the zipper in. The nice thing about the way this is constructed is you already have your other side, so we don't have to do the usual thing of sew, you know, press, top stitch, all that fun stuff. We're basically just top stitching, which is very cool. So it's kind of an interesting way of making a pouch because it's very different from what we're used to. The only trick here is going to be that we're going to lay this piece on here. Why does that look so much bigger? We're going to lay this piece on here, and we're going to have to sew it very carefully down so that it's even across this whole thing on both sides of the zipper. So that's the only challenge. This is looking way longer. We've had this problem in the past. I also need to clean this up. It folded all weird on me, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on there. So it is a little long. I'm going to go ahead and cut that down because we want to be very careful that these are perfectly the right length when we sew them in. So I just want to make sure that that is the right length. It still looks a little long for that one. And this one is, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's go sew these down. Okay, I'm going to go for the orange one first. So we're going to sew our tab down. I should have done that in between. Okay, and now sew down the zipper tab. Just wants to move around there. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try putting these in different places. So I'm going to try the first one up here at the top in between the ears. And then for the other one, I'm going to try it on the side. Okay, so super easy pattern. It's just this is the most confusing part. So what we are going to do is we are going to take, we're going to take our lining and our exterior, put them wrong sides together, and then we're just going to baste these down together just so they don't shift around later. So we're going to go really on the edge, like 1/8 of an inch, basting it all the way around. The other thing she said you could do is just baste it in a couple of key spots. I don't know that it seems like that wastes more thread than just basting it all the way around. Wastes a little more thread to baste it all the way around, but there we are. And then we are going to take the exterior, put our other piece of exterior on it, zippers all the way open, because that's how we're going to turn the bag around. And we're going to line all of this up, and now we're going to sew it with 3/8 of an inch. What she suggests doing is making little marks here, and the ears can be pointed, so you don't necessarily have to go around the curve here. You can just put your needle down and rotate the whole thing. So I think I'm going to start here at the bottom. I should have gone a lot slower than that. I was kind of sloppy. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut slits in here so that when we turn it around, we've got some curves in there. Turn this around and then press it, and then we are all done. So fairly simple. It's actually way easier than the piggy because you don't have to put the batting or the stuffing in the piggy, but I just find that it's kind of wrinkly if you don't. So I do the stuffing, but you don't have to. But even that one, it's a little more intricate than this. This just has the ears, where that has the legs and the ears and the snout, and so it's a lot more intricate. And we can poke this out, poke the ears out. I just put my nails on, so that's not good. And you just want to be careful to not poke through the stitches. I'll do this with my trusty chopstick instead, so that's going to be better. Okay, time for round 2. I'm just going to go ahead and sew everything down again. Oh, switch thread, and then we're going to sew everything down again. All complete. So that took me a lot longer. I like the idea of using different colors and kind of making a gradient is nice. It just adds a lot of depth. I don't know that I would do a sunset sky again, but I really like that. I don't really have a lot of nature colors, it turns out, in this pack. I need a lot more kind of grays and browns, but other than that, I think it looks really nice. I'm gonna go hang that up and call it a day. Okay, and there we have it. We've got our two different versions. I've got one with the swivel hook on the side and one with it at the top. I feel like if you were going to actually attach the swivel hook to something, the side would make more sense. So that's probably where I will put it in the future. I don't know if I like it down here or up here. Yeah, I think it's just easier to hook off of something this way. But super cute, very happy with those. Very easy to do. There's a little tutorial, which is nice. So this is the medium size. So we've got the extra small is basically only big enough for like a hand sanitizer, lip balm kind of thing. The small holds credit cards. The medium is this one, and you could see that I could probably fit like my pins and my stitch markers and my little sharp scissors in here, no problem. Or some credit cards, some keys, let's try cell phone. Can I fit my cell phone? Not really. Not really. So that would be the large. The large can hold your cell phone. It's more of a pencil pouch or like a makeup pouch. But I like this size. This is very comparable to our piggies and way easier. So thank you to the person who suggested this. I will definitely be making these for the fall. We do have some other fabrics that we can use. I've got all of these autumny fabrics, but I think I might like these better in coin purses rather than this. I'm also wondering, because these are fat quarters, I don't know that if I can get all of the pieces out of this, because I would basically need, like if I did one of each, I would need two and then these ones. No, I guess I could do that. If we want to mix and match all of these fall fabrics, we can do that as well. So that's very cool. Do the kitties out of our other pieces? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're not going to make the rest of the kitties until later. So I got time to think about that. And I think I'm going to give this an A. This is actually very easy. You just want to be precise about cutting out your pieces. And then I would definitely cut the fusible fleece way down because it's still wound up in the seam. And I can see how this would be a much nicer pressed seam if I had managed to keep it out of the seam completely. So that's it for this week. It's been pretty short for me, so hopefully it's been good for you too. We've got our two kitty pouches. So this is the one with the swivel hook on the top, and this is the one with the swivel hook on the side. I think the one on the side is more useful, so this is probably where we will put it in the future, but super cute and excited to have this pattern in my repertoire as a cute replacement for the piggies. Perfect for the fall show because the kitty cats will be good for the fall show. We'll be making the rest of these towards the end of our time before the show because we'll have all of our leftover fabrics and then we can decide what we're using for coin purses or kitty pouches. Some of the patterns of the fabrics we've been using might be too large for these, so I might want to use those fat quarters that we have left over for these. So very excited to have these. Thank you to whoever suggested this pattern to me. Very, very great suggestion, very easy, a little easier than the piggies, and bigger too. They fit more stuff, so I think they'll be more useful for people. And thanks to all of you, I have received my first check from YouTube. So it's basically like $100 over almost 2 years it's taken me to get to a $100 payment. But thank you all for watching my videos. All of the watch time that you do contributes to me getting a check. So that $100 is going to obviously go back into buying fabric and supplies for the business and allowing me to continue making these videos for you. So thank you all very much for coming and watching videos. Let's take a look at our couch blanket. It's getting really big. It's probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the way done. I just keep holding it up to my body and seeing where we're at, because the heavier it gets, it's like a weighted blanket at this point. So I don't want to make it too heavy. So yeah, we'll just see where we get with that. But I'm trying to work on that while I'm here at home, especially this week with my husband out of town. You know, it's kind of lonely at night, so I've been working on the blanket and saving the sweater for when I go out and about. And I hope you enjoyed seeing the footage of the elephants. Very interesting display and good to raise awareness for the elephants' beautiful artwork. So very glad that we went to that. And yeah, I'm just gonna get right into the next video. We've got some fabric to iron and process and cut out, so that's gonna take me some time. So I'm gonna get right back into that after we film this. So thank you for coming and spending time with me this week. Hopefully this is a nice, easy pattern that you can download and try out. Very fun. I think this would be perfect for Christmas presents, birthday presents, anything like that. So hope you get to try that one out and hope you have a wonderful week ahead. I'll see you back here next week. Love you, friends. Bye.